Hi everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is going to be my first ever video, which I just can't believe. I've wanted to do YouTube for 10 years now, and I'm finally let's just do it. But I thought to kick off my channel, I would sit down and do a bit of a Q&A, get to know me. It just felt right. So I put a question box on my Instagram and literally asked the gang to go wild. Nothing was off topic. I was like, ask as many questions as you want. I'm gonna answer them all. And I've got all my questions here written down. I'm just gonna read off here and go for it. So yeah, let's go. So go grab a cuppa and let's deep dive in. The first question is, when did you first set up your account? New follower here. I set up my Instagram, I think it was back in 2014 when I joined uni, and back then Instagram was so different. I didn't really put a lot on my Instagram. It was more if you had a coffee or food, that's what you would upload. I was a blogger, old school blogger, so I had a blog, and I absolutely loved it. I used to sit in my bedroom and write beauty blogs, fashion, lifestyle, a bit of food. My Instagram has been running since 2014, and then this channel is brand new. I set it up at the beginning of December, so whether you're a new follower, old follower, please, would love you to come along for the journey. So the next question is, how do you figure out what to prioritise and what to let go of when overwhelm happens? I used to be really, really bad for waking up, writing a huge to-do list about this long, and all day I would rush around 100 miles an hour. I'd stress myself out about how much I had to complete, and at the end of the day, even if I'd managed to get 3/3 of the list done, it wouldn't be good enough, and I'd put myself down and make myself feel guilty that I hadn't been productive enough. And honestly, it wasn't until a few years ago when I really tried to practice slowing down, and definitely moving to the countryside helped a lot. And what I try to do is I make sure that I totally understand that I'm not going to get everything done. So I try and look at, right, what are the things that need to happen this week? It would be lovely if everything could get done, but in reality, it's not the case. You only have so many hours in the day, and you also need to prioritise yourself. You need to make sure that you're eating good, you're relaxing and unwinding somehow, whether that's through exercise, having a walk, watching a movie, or reading 10 pages of a book, whatever that is. And you need your sleep, and you need to be eating well. So I always look at, right, what needs to be done, what are deadlines or time frames that cannot be pushed back, and I'll do them. Everything else can be pushed back. I actually, just to add to that, I think a saying that really, really helped me was, you can't pour from an empty cup. So if you're running ragged, trying to do everything, and you're overwhelmed, you're just going to cause yourself to get ill, burn out, you'll be frazzled, you'll have nothing in your cup. So how can you do more? And as somebody who's suffered from burnout a lot, honestly, the slower way of living and prioritising what you need and pushing everything back and looking after you honestly makes the world of difference. I find this next one really interesting because I've never really talked about it, but the next question is, how do you deal with self-belief as I struggle with it, and to find confidence in myself? I think a lot of people from seeing me online would be like, oh my god, Sarah is so confident, so confident in herself, and I'm actually really not. I really struggle with the idea of I'm not good enough, and I've struggled with that for years. It's really weird because I am confident in some of my abilities, but overall there's always a voice in the back of my head that's oh, you're not good enough for this, you're not doing a good job, yada yada yada. I've got a saying for it. It's what is it? I self-sabotage. That's it. I self-sabotage myself all the time. The way I've managed to maneuver it and get around it and get better from it and build that confidence up is, I recognise it now. So before, I never recognised I was doing it. It was almost like what my brain was saying was the truth. And I know it sounds a bit silly, but it was, whenever my brain was saying it, I just thought that was real. Whereas like now I'm like, no Sarah, you are self-sabotaging. Like, anyway, to answer the question, because I feel like it was very long-winded, but I wanted you guys to like understand that if you think I'm really confident, like that, you know, like I'm working on it as well. I would, again, try and not talk negatively to yourself. Like, that's something I am really trying to break out the habit of, and I am getting better with it. But don't speak negatively to yourself. Sometimes if you're like, I don't know what to say to myself, what would you say to your best friend? What would you say to your friend? And take that advice. And also, like, look at what you have done. Like, look at some of the achievements that you have done in your life. And I bet you any money you have done a lot of stuff. And you're like, when you look back, you're like, actually, yeah, I have done it and I can do it. Sometimes I think we have this problem of we're always looking at the next thing and we forget to actually look how far we've come. So do that. Have a look at how far you've come, because I bet you know, you've absolutely smashed it. So believe in yourself. I hope those few things helped. I could go on about it for ages because I feel like I've just sort of discovered all of this. But if anybody does have any other recommendations, please put them in the comments and let's all have a conversation about it. So for those that may have not followed me on my Instagram or maybe relatively new, I started again at 30. And what I mean by that is I left a 10-year relationship. I left my house that I had a mortgage in, that I spent 5 years decorating. I left the majority of my belongings, all the furniture I bought, and I moved back with my parents a few months to me turning 30, and I just completely started again. And it was really hard, but it was one of the best things I ever did. So the next question is, I know you restarted your life after everything. Is there anything you miss? And I'll be really honest with you, there is nothing I miss. It feels like, even though it was only 3 years ago, it feels like it was a lifetime ago. It's gonna sound weird, the only thing I really miss, if I had to say something, was because I did the majority of the design in that house, I felt like I crafted safe spaces that I could like I had this amazing walk-in wardrobe that I'd dreamt about. The rabbits were in the corner, I had a makeup station, I had a full-length mirror, I had my wardrobes. So I loved creating those spaces, and like, I don't know, like, because we're in lockdown for the majority of it, was like my safe space kind of. But it's weird because like if I go to my Instagram account now and scroll all the way back, those pictures make me really sad and those videos make me sad, so I don't like to look at them. It's very weird, but no, not really. I don't feel like I miss anything of my life. I feel like I completely have a new life. I live life to the fullest now. Yeah. I also had a question that said, do you have any advice for somebody who wants to start again? Now, I'm not an expert, and I'm sure every single story is different. The only thing and advice I can give to you, because when I put that reel out, honestly, my inbox was flooded with DMs, which I was not expecting, and it was just lovely to talk to these women. Anyway, so the only advice I could give is just think about yourself. And I don't mean, you know, when I was speaking to a lot of people, they were really, really scared about what their families would think, what their partners' families would think. And don't get me wrong, like you grow up and you know these people, and you know you form relationships, but at the end of the day, you were the main character of your story, and you need to put your happiness first, because if you don't, you know, you're gonna live a really sad life, and that, you know, you only get one life and life is really short. And trust me, like in a few years, you know, then people are probably not even gonna think about you. So don't waste your time worrying about other people. You've got to think about you and what's best for you. Just think about you and what you want, because life's too short. So that's probably the best advice I'll give. And I guess that kind of flows into the next section of like, how did you and your partner meet? So me and my now husband met about 3 years ago on Hinge. So obviously I'd been in a really long-term relationship since I was like 17, so I'd never done online dating before. And let me tell you, it was interesting. It was an eye-opener. But no, I met Adam on Hinge, and we had our first date about a week after speaking on New Year's Day, and the rest is history, as they say. And that kind of flows on to the next question of any wedding advice. And then I've got a few questions about our wedding. A year after we got together, we bought a house. A few months after that, we got engaged. And then a year later, we got married. So this year we got married, 2024. But my advice to any brides out there is, I know it's really hard because you want to celebrate it with everybody, and I get that. But again, be selfish. Like, you and your partner are the only two people in your marriage, and it's going to be you two, you know, after the wedding day, making all those memories and living your lives together. So I know it's really hard because you want to, you know, think about other people and celebrate with other people, but just remember, it's you two you need to make happy on that day, and think about what you two want and not what everybody else wants. Go for it. Don't let anybody change your mind or try to put an opinion on you that you don't want. Someone asked, why did you elope instead of having a big wedding? I remember we got engaged and we were in Edinburgh, and we were just like, if we had our wedding similar to the day we got engaged, it would be lovely. And that's what we did. So we eloped in Edinburgh, and it was just us two, and it was amazing. But there was a few reasons. We wanted to elope just so it was just me and him. Like, we didn't want a big thing. We obviously we just moved into a house. We didn't have the tens of thousands for a wedding. And personally, I just, knowing that we bought this house, I couldn't commit to spending that amount of money, when, if I'm really honest, I'd rather just put that money into a house on one wedding day. Everyone's different, but that's just us. We just didn't want to like people please and have people's opinions affect our day. We literally just wanted me and him in a bubble, and honestly, like I could like cry at how happy my wedding was. It was just the most amazing day, well, amazing couple of days, and I honestly would not change it. And I tell you what, the amount of people I knew who had gotten married and said they wish they did exactly the same thing as us was unbelievable. And like I said, we were really fortunate. Like, our friends and family were so respectful. They were so happy for us and loving, and like they were a part of our day in some way. And they were just amazing. Yeah, but so someone's asked me my proudest moment of 2024, and I've kind of got like a one. I've kind of got an answer. I don't know if it's going to come out right, but I'm just going to go with it. As somebody who speaks online, I'm not very good at talking about my own feelings. So my proudest moment would be getting married. But again, this kind of might make sense to a few of the other questions. Obviously, I was in a very long-term relationship before I met Adam, and getting married was not on the cards. And I guess in my mind, I always felt like I wasn't good enough to get married. Like, no one would want me that way. So when Adam proposed, I was shooketh to my core. I was like, oh my God. I never ever thought about being engaged or being a bride or, you know, being a wife. And again, I really struggled with that self-sabotage. And I was so happy that I didn't let those internal thoughts get to me on my wedding day. It's great. We are not teaming up for this. Because, like I say, I'm not the most confident person when it comes to myself. And that's probably why, like, I love my wedding so much, because we just had the best time, and I was in such, I don't know, like, I got to really enjoy it, because I was like, you are enough, like, you are worthy, and this person wants you, and you allowed that. So, like, I was so happy that I didn't allow that little self-sabotage voice that I've got in my head get in the way of any of those celebrations. Like, yeah. So that was like a really a really weird, proud moment. But yeah, but like I think I'm proud of that whole era that we had of getting married. And I don't know, like I've worked on myself a lot. I've still got a lot of work to do, but I've worked on myself a lot. I've been to therapy, and I was just so happy that I was just fully present and didn't let any of that negative talk get to me, and I just really had the most magical time, and I was the best version of myself, not only for me but for Adam, and it was just amazing. Now I'm going to speed through these. These are just some like get to know me kind of ones. What do you do for work? So I'm actually starting a new job in January. I work in like online marketing, mainly for e-commerce clients. I specialise in the paid side of social media, but I deliver, create and execute sort of omnicom strategies for clients who are online, if that makes sense to anybody. If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be? Honestly, so we moved to the countryside. Me and Adam bought a house in the countryside, and I absolutely love it. And although like we are in the sticks, we're quite close to a lot of areas, so we're in the middle of stuff. I don't know if there's anywhere I'd go and live. I really love the look of like Canada. I don't know if I've ever moved there, because I've never been there, but it looks amazing. But honestly, like when me and Adam talk about our next house, I kind of want it to be like off the grid, like a farm in the rural outskirts of somewhere. Did you go to uni? What did you study? I did go to uni, God, many moons ago, and I studied magazine journalism. I secured a job in journalism before I left uni, so I worked for the Sun and Echo, so the Johnston Press Group. I wrote for the Sun and Echo, Hartlepool Mail and the Shields Gazette. I also worked as a features writer. They had a monthly magazine supplement called Etc. So I worked for that. And I worked there like part-time, and then I was also working part-time at Starbucks, which was one of my favourite jobs ever. And then I left there, worked in marketing a little bit, and then I went on to being a features editor for a wedding magazine, and I did that for about 4 years. And then I moved into marketing, working in social media specifically, and I've done that for the last 6 years. So whistle stop tour of my career. Biggest beauty hot take is trending, but one thing I'm absolutely obsessed with at the moment, and I think a lot of people are starting to invest in it now, is sort of your hair health and your scalp health. If anybody's seen that scalp treatment I went to on my Instagram, honestly, it was life-changing. And it seems so weird, but now like I wash my hair so differently, I look after my hair so differently, and I'm really hoping, I've only just kind of discovered that in December, I'm really hoping that in 2025 my hair's going to look like the best it's ever looked, because I've never really looked after my hair. I've always put too much heat on it and damaged it, so I'm hoping we're going to make these locks look a little bit healthier next year. But yeah, I think sort of the hair health in people like tapping into scalp care. So I know this is from Danielle. Do you miss the days of being a young, carefree, emo scene kid? So it might be hard to believe, but as a teenager, I was such an emo. I was an emo scene kid. My hair used to come all the way over. I had a massive fringe. I had massive big winged eyeliner that I used to scribble on with a pencil. I used to live in these really tight skinny jeans, and I had skinny trousers for school. I used to wear DCs, studded belts, and then my bag in my blazer would be covered in pins, in iron-ons from like Paramore, Fall Out Boy, Slipknot. I used to go to rock clubs during the week when I was a teenager, and any gig I could go to, we would go to. So yeah, I was, and I still like that music now. I think I'll always be emo scene kid at heart. Anyone who knows me or follows me on the other app knows I'm obsessed with Highland cows. So what is the ultimate Highland cow thing you don't own? Now, it's not something I own a lot. I own a lot of Highland cow merchandise, and it's amazing the amount of people who send me stuff that they find when they're shopping. Like, honestly, it fills my heart with so much love. What I really want to do, and I'm kind of pushing it for my next birthday, is I want to go to a Highland cow experience, you know, where you stay in the cottages and then you can feed the cows and like brush them and stuff. Like, I really want to do that for my birthday. So hopefully Adam will watch this video and see the end of it. So they're all the questions that have been asked, and I have no idea how long this video is going to be, so I'm hoping I will shorten it down for you guys. But thank you so much for watching. If you've got any like questions, comments about anything I've said, or other recommendations that might help people, please put them in the comments and let's have a conversation about them. If you haven't done already, please subscribe. I really want to be consistent with this channel this year, and I'm really excited. I've got loads of exciting vlogs and ideas that I want to bring. So yeah, I really hope you come along for the journey and join the gang. But yeah, I really hope you enjoyed that. I'm going to go now, so I'm not waffling, and just thank you so much for anybody who's interacted, watched, liked or whatever with this video. It means a lot.